Day one of Steelers training camp practice is in the books, and I've got 5 takeaways to share with you guys from that first day of practice. And make sure to stick around to the end of today's video for the biggest surprise from day one. And before I get into my list today, if you want more training camp coverage here on the Black and Gold, we got you covered with daily videos here on Steelers Talk. So do me a favor and click that subscribe button to get things going today. Now let's get into my list here. Number one takeaway, just watching them warm up today, I really came away with Kenny Pickett looks a lot bigger than he did in 2022. You can really tell that KP has been hitting the weight room this offseason, and it's really showing out there on the football field. You take a look at this picture from KP back during OTAs, and you can see that he is filled out quite a bit. He's looking a lot bigger. He's looking a lot stronger, and hopefully that's going to help him stay healthier throughout the course of his NFL career. Now, is that going to affect his speed since he's a little bit heavier? I guess only time will tell with that, but I definitely think that this is a good thing for QB1 to be getting bigger, and he definitely shows that size off there at Steelers training camp practice today. And you got to love the kid's work ethic, man. You can really tell that he really had a goal for himself going into the offseason, and he really accomplished those goals this year. He's looking really, really strong. He's looking bigger, and it's definitely looking like he's really taking that second-year approach super, super well. And you got to love that your franchise quarterback works as hard as Kenny Pickett does. Now, show some love to QB1 right now by typing KP8 down there in the comments section for me if you believe in Kenny Pickett as the franchise quarterback here of your Pittsburgh Steelers. Then the second takeaway I came away from day one of Steelers practice was that Patrick Peterson is getting a lot of work in the slot. Now, we've talked about this throughout the course of the offseason ever since they signed Patrick Peterson. Pat Pete has been talking about how Tomlin is expecting to play him in the slot. I mean, like, you look at what Patrick Peterson is going to be bringing to this defense. It's looking like Tomlin wants to use him as kind of a lurker there and almost as like a nickel star position, similar to the role that Jalen Ramsey has played in the Los Angeles Rams defense over the last several years that he was in LA. And that's a very intriguing role to me because, you know, Patrick Peterson's getting a little bit older. Maybe those physical tools that he once had are starting to wane a little bit, but playing as a lurker in those zone coverage looks that Mike Tomlin likes to run and not as much bump and run coverage, I think would be really good for Patrick Peterson because it allows his instincts, his elite instincts, to shine on the field and allow him to go and get interceptions, which he had 5 last year with the Minnesota Vikings. And you take a look at this room right now, and I think if you're looking at just putting your best 3 corners on the field for week 1, right, in your nickel sets when you go to 3 corners, I think you got to go with Levi Wallace and Joey Porter Jr. on the outside, and then you can have Patrick Peterson in those nickel sets when you got those 3 corners on the field to play that lurker role in the slot. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. If you're Mike Tomlin, I think Mike Tomlin is one of the smartest coaches in the National Football League from the defensive side of things, and I think that's definitely going to be his plan here heading into the 2023 season. It's going to be really fun to see if it works out for the Steelers and Patrick Peterson this year. Now, I've got some more takeaways from day one of Steelers practice coming your way in just a second, but first, if you need some more black and gold in your closet here before the start of week 1, before the start of the 2023 season, check out our friends at Fanatics here at chatsports.com/Steelers combo to get your hands on this awesome Steelers t-shirt combo that they currently have on their website. I love that black short sleeve with the Steelers helmet, and then that white long sleeve is very forgiving for these really hot summer months. So if you want a really nice pair of Steelers t-shirts, use our link chatsports.com/Steelers combo to let Fanatics know that your friends here at Chat Sports sent you there. Then number 3 on my list here is that there's a couple of wide receivers that Steelers fans have been hoping to really break out here this season that had tough days for the first day of practice, and that's Calvin Austin III and Hakeem Butler. Now, Calvin Austin III drafted out of the University of Memphis just a season ago. At this point last year during training camp, gets a foot injury, and he's out for the entirety of the 2022 campaign. Did not play a single snap, and a lot of Steelers fans are hoping he's going to come into this year, his second year, and really shine and really show the world that Calvin Austin III can be a really dynamic weapon in this league. Had multiple drops today during the practice, multiple contested catches that were not brought in by Calvin Austin III. And you want to see Calvin Austin III succeed, especially because a lot of people are counting on him to be a really dynamic weapon for this team heading into 2023. And then you got the XFL wide receiver, Hakeem Butler, big body, man, 6'5", 227 pounds, can run a little bit. You can definitely see the tools in Hakeem Butler's game, but just like Calvin Austin III today, it was a very disappointing showing for Hakeem Butler. There's a couple of passes, some misplaced passes his way, so those were incompletions that weren't really his fault, but there were a couple of passes within his frame during day one here that he didn't bring in either. So he needs to get a lot better in that regard. I'm sure that he's going to look better in future days. It's just one day, but it's definitely not the best start for Hakeem Butler and Calvin Austin III. But, just because they have one bad day, guys, does not mean that they're going to be bad throughout the entirety of camp. Now, it might be a little bit worrisome that they didn't get off on the right foot. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on them to see how they play throughout the entirety of the preseason here, during the games, during practices, see if things improve, especially Calvin Austin III here, because I'm kind of expecting a lot out of CA3 this year to kind of be a nice change-up to Allen Robinson II there in the slot, and I think he definitely has the ability to do that. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do in practice in future days, but today just simply wasn't his day. Now let me know what you guys are thinking about Calvin Austin III after a rough first day of Steelers practice. Are you worried about the wide receiver out of the University of Memphis? Type W if you're worried, or if you're not worried and you think he's going to be just fine, give me an NW down there in the comments section. My number 4 takeaway on my list here is that Elijah Riley, former safety, converted the slot cornerback here, continues to impress and make plays. During today's practice, he got the first interception of Steelers camp here, intercepting third-string quarterback Mason Rudolph on a curl route. Really showed some great instincts, reading the quarterback's eyes, and then going and showing those ball skills, getting that interception. Had 5 tackles for the Steelers last season, looking to carve out a role that goes beyond just special teams here. He's looking to really become that next slot cornerback, that dime back type of player that comes in on those dime sets, sometimes in the nickel, whatever the case may be. He's trying to carve himself out a role on this defense, and he continues to make plays here in training camp after having a very solid showing in OTAs and minicamp. So still to come here, coming up, I'm just going to give you my biggest surprise from day one. My 5th takeaway is the biggest surprise. But first here, go ahead and click that like button right now if you appreciate what we do for you guys here at Steelers Talk. We work our butts off, so if you want to help us out here and be really generous towards this here right now, click that thumbs up icon and like today's video. And the biggest surprise to me at Steelers day one practice here was that Duke Dawson got first-team reps as the slot cornerback, which is definitely surprising to me. You got Patrick Peterson, you got Elijah Riley, you got Chandon Sullivan that you brought in free agency. But no, Duke Dawson got some reps with the ones today, which makes me think, is this guy better than we potentially think? I think a lot of people write off Duke Dawson at this point in his career. He played a little bit as a backup in the early parts of his career. He was drafted in 2019 by the Denver Broncos, comes to the Steelers now, and could this guy be a little bit better than we think? Apparently the Steelers coaches trust him enough to put him out there for first-team reps. Is there something that we're missing here, and is he going to show out during those preseason games? I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Duke Dawson throughout the entirety of training camp here to see if he could potentially be that starting slot corner, that dime backer for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense here in 2023. So let me know who you think that true slot guy is going to be for the black and gold this year. There's 3 candidates right now. Let me know which one you think is going to win by giving me a CS for Chandon Sullivan, an ER for Elijah Riley, or a double D there for Duke Dawson. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all the support. Make sure you click that subscribe button, because if you want more Steelers news and rumors coverage throughout the entirety of training camp, leading up to Week 1 for that Week 1 matchup against the 49ers at Acrisure Stadium, if you want to become an expert on the 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers, this is the place for you. So do me a favor, click that subscribe button for me right now. That'll be it for me today, guys. I will see you guys later, and as always, here we go, Steelers.